send to girls. There are also dozens of messages that Epstein sent to billionaire Leon Black. Right in those, you can see that Epstein repeatedly asked for large sums of money and claimed to have helped Black make payments to a woman who accused him of sexual assault. And these later documents further showing that Epstein encouraged Black to hire an investigator to track the woman's movements and that he was receiving updates on other women to whom Black had made payments. And then with all that, the files also show that Epstein often sent cryptic messages to his contacts suggesting that he had some kind of dirt on them or that they shared some kind of secrets. And this was also the case with yet another billionaire, Les Wexner, who was actually reportedly the source of hundreds of millions of dollars of Epstein's wealth, much of which Epstein allegedly stole from him. And so that led to a falling out, but Epstein later sent a message implying that he knew things that Wexner wouldn't want getting out. And all of that, it becomes even more notable when you consider that Virginia Giuffre once claimed that she had been trafficked to Wexner by Epstein. Also, a newly released FBI memo from 2019 listed Wexner as one of Epstein's possible co-conspirators, although it also said that there was limited evidence regarding his involvement. But also, as recently as last year, you had the DOJ including Wexner on a list of prominent names of interest in the Epstein investigation. Right, and then with all that, Wexner actually testified about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein before the House Oversight Committee today, and he denied wrongdoing as he's done before, and he blasted Epstein as a world-class con man. But ultimately, what you have people like these UN experts arguing is that bringing a few of the most high-profile figures in the files to testify before Congress, that's not going to cut it. Instead, saying there should be independent, thorough, and impartial investigations into the allegations contained in the files, as well as inquiries to determine how such crimes could have taken place for so long, and adding, any suggestion that it is time to move on from the Epstein files is unacceptable. It represents a failure of responsibility towards victims. And actually, on that note, while it's easy to get sidetracked by the files, it is very important to remember that some of the most damning evidence we have is from the survivors. Right, Virginia Giuffre, she claimed in her memoir that she was lent out to scores of wealthy, powerful people, and she said she was habitually used and humiliated, and in some instances choked, beaten, and bloodied. She even described being trafficked to a man described as a well-known prime minister who she said abused her so badly that for days it hurt to breathe and to swallow. And just this weekend, you had another survivor, Juliette Bryant, telling CBS about how she had been offered a modeling opportunity through Epstein. But he organized her travel to the US from Australia only for her to have her passport taken before being sexually assaulted and then trafficked for years. And, when we ask ourselves how this type of stuff could have happened, I mean, the man who we have president today was first elected even after audio came out showing that he once claimed that he could get away with grabbing women by the pussy because he was famous, and he was elected again even after being found civilly liable for sexual abuse. Right, and with that, you've got people out there like Nick Fuentes who have these massive followings saying shit like this on a regular basis.
When you see guys saying stuff like 16, 15, that's a literal child. This is feminism. That's a
what?
Feminist construct. Age of
No. 15-year-old women are 15-year-old women. They're children.
Consent, feminist construct. Google.
They cannot consent. No, I will not Google it. They cannot consent, you fucking racist, right-wing piece of shit rapist type who's trying to justify child sex.
But it is literally a what does that even mean? No one even knows. No one even thinks about it.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean when you say that. The age of consent is 16. Feminism has nothing to do with it, you weird right-wing Hitler piece of shit cocksucker. What the fuck are you talking about?
Rape is something that is played up because of the way that women have politicized sexuality.
No, the age of consent in most states is 16.
Women want to have no consequences for their...
Beyond that, or 18, some states. Like beyond that, whatever you think doesn't matter. There's the law, and then there's whatever you're saying, which is hot noise coming from a rapist.
Actions.
Or whatever it is you are. I don't know. You're a virgin, I guess.
So rape is always a convenient excuse.
And it's not an convenient excuse. In the eyes of the Supreme Court of the United States of America, consent is this thing that cannot be given by somebody who's under 18. You're a child rapist for even bringing it up, because the only people in the world that will cotton to your argument are other child rapists.
Actually, with all this beyond the Epstein files, there are obviously other examples of the rich and powerful getting away with abuse. And possibly one of the latest examples has come from Crystal Hefner, the widow of Playboy founder Hugh Hefner, right? Because she's alleged that her dead husband's foundation may be in possession of a decades-old collection of sexually explicit images of young women and possibly underage girls that were taken without consent. With her also... Also claiming that she was fired as the foundation's chief executive after raising concerns about the collection. So she's now filed complaints with the California and Illinois Attorney General.
She probably didn't even care about more than 3 of the pictures or something, but she's like, that girl can't be old enough.
Offices in an attempt to prevent any potential distribution of those images. Right? And specifically, she said that the foundation is in possession of 3,000 personal scrapbooks containing
Hugh Hefner was like a weird child rapist dude.
thousands of nude images of women in Hefner's diary.
I mean, does it... Yeah.
Which contains highly personal information regarding his sexual exploits, including names of women he slept with, notes describing the sex acts that they performed, and in some instances, even information tracking women's menstrual cycles. Crystal saying that she's concerned about possible plans to digitize the collection and adding, I am deeply worried about these images getting out. A single security failure could devastate thousands of lives. Saying this is a civil rights issue. Women's bodies are not property, are not history, and are not collectibles. Now, with all that, as of recording, we haven't heard from the Hefner Foundation, so we're going to have to wait to see
his wife. That's his wife.
Plays out. But, you know, while you can decide for yourself what you want to believe, in the meantime,
she found out who he was.
To transition, Stephen Colbert is telling you very clearly, do not believe CBS. Because Colbert slammed CBS on air for the second night in a row, literally comparing their legal defense to dog shit. Right? And of course, all of this stemming from CBS not letting him air his interview with Texas Senate candidate James Tallarico on TV. And as we dove into yesterday, Tallarico is running in the Dem primaries, and CBS claimed that they intervened because of the FCC's equal time rule, which states that if a broadcast network gives airtime to one candidate, they have to offer time to their opponents. But because talk shows are historically exempt from this rule, many saw this as corporate BS, corporate censorship, and CBS pledging blind loyalty to Trump by silencing Colbert and a Democratic candidate. And so Colbert, he still did the interview, but he uploaded it to YouTube instead. But now with all this, you've got CBS defending itself, saying in a statement, The Late Show was not prohibited by CBS from broadcasting the interview with Representative James Tallarico, saying the show was provided legal guidance that the broadcast could trigger the FCC equal time rule for 2 other candidates, including Representative Jasmine Crockett, and presented options for how the equal time for other candidates could be fulfilled. And then claiming The Late Show decided to present the interview through its YouTube channel with on-air promotion on the broadcast rather than potentially providing the equal time options. And this statement was at the center of Colbert's show last night, where he literally equated this response to dog shit and then went on to say that the network told me unilaterally that I had to abide by the equal time rules, something that I had never been asked to do for an interview in the 21 years of this job. I'm not a lawyer and I don't want to tell them how to do their jobs, but since they seem intent on telling me how to do mine, fellas, I am well aware that we can book other guests. I didn't need to be presented with that option. I have had Jasmine Crockett on my show twice. Jasmine Crockett is one of the people that Tallarico's facing in the primaries, and her most recent appearance on Colbert's show was 9 months ago. And even though that was before she launched her Senate bid, you had people saying that it shows that he's clearly open to her being a guest, and he has the contacts to make that happen if the equal time rule was really applicable here. But then all of that brings us to an FCC commissioner who released a statement saying that this has nothing to do with the real FCC rules, and it was just censorship, saying this is yet another troubling example of corporate capitulation in the face of this administration's broader campaign to censor and control speech, saying the FCC has no lawful authority to pressure broadcasters for political purposes or to create a climate that chills free expression. CBS is fully protected under the First Amendment to determine what interviews it airs, which makes its decision to yield to political pressure all the more disappointing. Well, this whole situation, it is a bad sign for democracy, as I was talking about yesterday, and it turns out to be true. It ended up being so good for Tallarico's campaign. But in addition to all the eyes on that interview, this morning he announced that his campaign raised $2.5 million since his Colbert interview was blocked. Also with that, I'll say, while that is a very impressive stat, Tallarico's not publicly celebrating. Instead, he said on MSNBC,
it should be troubling to all of us, regardless of our political affiliations or our political beliefs, that the most powerful people in the country, the most powerful politicians, and the most powerful corporate executives are working together to sell out the First Amendment, to sell out our freedom of speech in order to protect their own power and their own wealth.
But of course, Tallarico is just one part of the Dem primary, and one of his opponents, Jasmine Crockett, went on MSNBC to share her side of the story. Right?
Jasmine
said that she got a call claiming that CBS was told that they could move forward with the Tallarico interview if they offered her equal time, but
I did not get a request from the Colbert Show to go on. As you know, I've been on Colbert multiple times. And frankly, if we would have gotten an offer, that would have been great. But we're in the middle of early voting, so I'm kind of focused on being in Texas at this moment. I don't know what to believe, that's for sure.
With Crockett saying that she would have had no issue if the interview had just aired on the traditional broadcast, and acknowledged that this whole controversy just gave Tallarico a lift in the race.
I think it probably gave my opponent the boost he was looking for. So I think it's probably better that he didn't get on and that they went straight to streaming, because we know that when we resist and when we know that it seems like they're trying to change the rules and bend the knee to this president, that it backfires in a historic fashion.
And it does feel like this hostile environment that the Trump regime has created, it did backfire. There were all those views, there's all that money that's been raised, and Google searches are up for Tallarico, and it's coming as early voting in the state just started.
You're going to lose Texas over this?
It's going to be very interesting to see what kind
Oh
of impact
my
it has
God, and they're not saying it, but I'm going to say it, right? Do you know how mad Texas is going to be if they have Democratic rule?
the actual voting. But again, if you are someone that's celebrating this backfiring, it should be a small celebration. Because as we talked about yesterday, this does not solve the bigger underlying problem. This is a dangerous and scary environment. This is supposed to have a chilling effect. And most candidates, if they get this crackdown or they don't get the opportunities, they're very likely not going to get the Streisand effect that we saw here. We get to see and celebrate the outliers. But most interviews that get killed, they stay killed. Most corporate censorship, it works. CBS's behavior and their defense, which I think is insulting to your intelligence, claiming that they were just providing options. It shows what happens when networks prioritize regulatory relationships over journalism. And I think Colbert is correct when he compared their statement to dog shit. And then there's more we got to dive into in just a minute. But first, let me thank a sponsor and say, matching outfits used to feel like something reserved for cheesy holiday photos. And yet here we are. Because today's sponsor, MeUndies, somehow made matching actually cool. And yes, my wife and I are all in. But also, it's not just for couples. I'm talking family, best friends, roommates, maybe chaos goblins you live with. Same prints, different styles, boxer briefs, trunks, briefs, bikinis, thongs, cheeky styles. Everyone matches their own way. It's coordinated without looking like you lost a bet. And the comfort, ridiculous. They're ultra modal fabric. It's soft, breathable, and dangerously close to why wear anything else. These are the pairs you reach for first and quietly hope they're clean. Right? And MeUndies, they constantly drop new prints too, so matching never gets boring or repetitive. It's actually one of my favorite low-effort ways to feel weirdly put together. Plus, their first pair promise makes it 45 days risk-free, so try them, and if they're not love at first wear, they'll make it right. And so if you want to upgrade your underwear drawer, you're looking to gift something that people will actually use, MeUndies is a no-brainer. Go to MeUndies.com/PhilipDeFranco or scan the QR code and use promo code PhilipDeFranco for exclusive deals up to 50% off. That's MeUndies.com/PhilipDeFranco, promo code PhilipDeFranco for up to 50% off MeUndies. But then diving right back into the news, we've got to talk about how Zoran Mamdani just fired the opening shot in what looks like a full-blown class war between Democratic Socialists and New York super rich. But it is dramatic, it is intense, and whatever the outcome, one thing's certain, someone is going to win and someone is going to lose. But first, to actually understand how we got here, we got to go back a couple of weeks to the moment that Mamdani dropped this bomb.
I will be blunt. New York City is facing a serious fiscal crisis. There is a massive fiscal deficit in our city's budget to the tune of at least $12 billion. This crisis has a name and a chief architect. This is the Adams budget crisis.
Now, for some context, I'm going to explain real quick how this all works. As mayor, you're required by law to balance the budget, which means making sure that revenue and expenses equal out. Thing is, though, you don't actually know exactly how much your expenses are going to end up totaling until you get the bill. So you just kind of have to guess how much they'll cost, which introduces a certain degree of honesty that New Yorkers have to count on from their mayor about the future. And Eric Adams, he was not exactly famous for his honesty. And in fact, Mamdani, he claims that Adams intentionally, dramatically, and systematically under-budgeted city services, or in other words, their projected actual cost was far higher than the numbers that he used. So that means that Adams could technically meet the legal requirement to balance the budget, and it would only turn out to be unbalanced later on, by which time it would then be the next administration's mess to clean up, and here we are with one very big mess.
For reference, the budget gaps we are facing today are higher than they were at the height of the Great Recession.
But also Mamdani says that Adams isn't the only one you have to blame, right? Because Andrew Cuomo also dug this hole during his decade as governor, right? Alleging that Cuomo extracted city resources to shore up state-level finances while withholding revenue from the city, so that as a result,
New Yorkers contribute 54.5% of state revenue and receive only 40.5% back. In fiscal year 2022, New York City sent $68.8 billion in revenue to Albany and received $47.6 billion back.
But regardless of who's to blame, you have Mamdani saying that he's whittled down that $12 billion deficit substantially, right? Explaining that by finding savings in the budget, updating revenue estimates, and drawing down in-year reserves, he got it down to $7 billion. And then you had Governor Kathy Hochul pitching in another $1.5 billion in aid from the state, putting the final deficit at around $5.4 billion. And so that bomb, it's definitely way smaller than the one he initially dropped, but it's still going to make a big boom. And so now the way that Mamdani presents it is that there are two paths forward. Either Hochul and the state legislature in Albany raise income taxes by 2% on New York's 33,000 wealthiest residents who make over $1 million a year, raise corporate taxes as well, and stop the drain on city resources to the state. Or if they refuse, then he'll have no other choice but to raise taxes himself, except it won't be income taxes that go up, but rather property taxes. And Mamdani was direct here. He said this option, it wouldn't just hit the richest of the rich.
This would effectively be a tax on working and middle-class New Yorkers who have a median income of $122,000.
So that's a 9.5% tax hike on over 3 million single-family homes, co-ops, and condos, as well as over 100,000 2,000 commercial buildings. And you've got the Citizens Budget Commission estimating that that would amount to some $700 more a year in taxes for the typical owner of a 1, 2, or 3 family home. And then actually, in addition to that, the city would dip into its cash reserves and pull out nearly $1 billion for the next fiscal year alone. So that's why you have Mamdani saying it's that first path, the income tax path, that'll provide long-term stability, while the second path, the property tax path, is a last resort that he deeply hopes to avoid because it would cause significant pain. Right? But because the first path is completely out of his hands, the state has to approve it, he's proposing a budget in the meantime that's based on the second path. A budget that would spend $122 billion for fiscal year 2026 and $127 billion for 2027.
This preliminary budget increases city expenses by over $14 billion. Expenses that we have to fund because the Adams administration failed to. Of $14 billion, only $576 million is going to deliver new programmatic spending.
Now, with all this is where we kind of delve into the world of opinion. You may have noticed from the clips that I've shown you that he seems like he's opting for a governing style of complete and total transparency. Or whether or not you think he's actually being transparent, he does present himself that way, like, hey, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. There are a lot of problems. These are the solutions. Or these are the best and worst case scenarios. But still, you had one reporter asking, what you would say to supporters who might feel betrayed, saying you ran an uncompromising platform of making the city more affordable for working people, though in his defense, you had Mamdani saying like, hey, I'm doing everything possible with the tools at my disposal inside of the bounds of the law. And that includes going on a pressure campaign against the state government to force it down the first pass so that he doesn't have to take the second. Which on that note, there's actually a Tax the Rich rally that's happening next week in Albany, though Mamdani has reportedly told allies that he doesn't plan to attend. And all the while, like a big aspect of this is that Kathy Hochul's up for re-election this year, so she's facing a ton of political pressure from multiple directions to make the right calculation. But as far as the math there, Mamdani has already endorsed her and he's so far avoided antagonizing her. Or you see him frequently thanking her for her cooperation, and then also at the same time, he's going to have to negotiate with the city council, whose Democratic Speaker Julie Menon said, at a time when New Yorkers are already grappling with an affordability crisis, dipping into rainy day reserves and proposing significant property tax increases should not be on the table whatsoever. The council believes that there are additional areas of savings and revenue that deserve careful scrutiny before increasing the burden on small property owners and neighborhood small businesses. And then also, at the same time, you have other critics arguing that Mamdani's two paths are actually just a false choice, saying that there is a third option: cut expenses from the budget. And actually, in response to that, you had Mamdani saying that they've already come up with an aggressive savings plan, but if they cut any further, it's going to severely impact city services. But for now, we're going to have to keep our eyes on this and see how it plays out, because they have until June 30th to agree on a budget. And actually, with that, while not guaranteed, it's possible that other options are going to surface in that time, where, for example, if Wall Street gains push projected revenues up even further than expected. But also, if nothing budges and Mamdani goes with the second path, many property owners could find themselves squeezed at both ends, right? Because not only would they have to pay more in property taxes, they might also make less in revenue thanks to the partial rent freeze that Mamdani wants, right? And that looks like it might be a reality soon, because you had the Gothamist reporting that Mamdani is about to appoint 5 new members to the 9-member Rent Guidelines Board, including the board chair, and reappoint 1, giving him a majority. And so when they hold their annual vote on how much rent-stabilized apartment owners can legally raise their rents, the answer may be a simple 0, which actually is something that's happened before, 3 times in fact, under former Mayor Bill de Blasio. But it is also still a hotly debated topic, with one side warning that landlords need to raise rents to keep up with rising costs, and the other side countering that the data shows that most affected landlords are doing just fine, and the people who really need help are the poor tenants. And actually, something you saw with this is that Eric Adams tried to just short-circuit that debate by stocking the board with his own picks right before leaving the office to hamstring Mamdani. But then fortunately for Mamdani, 2 of his appointees withdrew. So now we could see the 4 consecutive rent freezes that he promised for his first term, knocking out yet another one of his core campaign pledges. Because he already got Hochul on board with a nearly $1.5 billion childcare expansion last month, though it's only 2 years, so he's going to have to figure out how to make it permanent after that. And that then leaves a few big boxes to check off: free buses, city-run grocery stores, and 200,000 new affordable homes. And so, with lots and lots at play here, of course, yes, I want to know everyone's opinion, but if you live in New York, I would really love to know your thoughts on what we're seeing play out here. But then, next up in the news, we got to talk about how Trump is now moving closer to a major war with Iran, and you have sources telling Axios that it could come in weeks, maybe days. You have Iran saying that good progress was made in nuclear talks, so J.D. Vance says that military options aren't off the table, and an unnamed Trump advisor said there is a 90% chance that we see kinetic action in the next few weeks. And of course, all of this is coming from and involving a man who campaigned as anti-war.
I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
One of the reasons I was the only president in generations who didn't start a war is that I was the only president who rejected the catastrophic advice of many of Washington's generals, bureaucrats, and the so-called diplomats who only know how to get us into conflict, but they don't know how to get us out. Take a look at the globalist warmonger donors backing our opponents. That's because they're candidates of war. I am the president who delivers peace, and it's peace through strength. The war in Ukraine.
Yeah, that was a very peaceful thing you did to Venezuela.
I will stop the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent World War III from happening.
And according to Axios, the military operation that sources described would likely be a massive weeks-long campaign that would look more like a full-fledged war than last month's pinpoint operation in Venezuela. They also added that the military operation would likely be a joint campaign between the U.S. and Israel that would be, quote, much broader in scope and more existential for the regime than the 12-day war last June when the U.S. and Israel launched deadly strikes targeting Iran's nuclear facilities, ballistic missile sites, and personnel. And these latest developments, they come after weeks of mounting tensions. Back in January, Trump came close to launching strikes on Iran amid the regime's brutal, deadly crackdown on widespread protests. But what you had was Trump eventually backing down after Iranian authorities said that they canceled hundreds of executions, with Israel and several Arab nations asking them to hold off. And so instead, you had Trump taking a two-pronged approach, engage in military talks with Iran while building up a massive military presence in the region and repeatedly threatening Iran with military action if negotiations fail. And since last month, Trump's been amassing what he has called a massive armada, which reportedly has grown to include 2 aircraft carriers, a dozen warships, hundreds of fighter jets, and multiple air defense systems. Where the U.S. has steadily been increasing firepower in the region, even as nuclear talks have continued. And as far as the negotiations, on February 6th, you had the U.S. and Iran holding indirect negotiations in Oman. You had both sides leaving, saying things had gone well and more talks would be scheduled soon. Even Trump himself said that the conversations were very good, though he also warned Iran that there would be steep consequences if they failed to make a deal. Right? And then, ahead of another round of indirect talks scheduled this week in Switzerland, you had both sides ramping up military posturing and rhetoric. You see, for a while, there was just one aircraft carrier in the region. On Friday, you had Trump confirming he was sending a second one. Then on Monday, one day before the second round of talks was set to start, Iran held live military exercises in the Strait of Hormuz, with experts arguing that the move was a show of power intended to warn the United States that if they escalate to full-blown war, Iran's prepared to disrupt a crucial shipping lane for oil and gas, which could upend energy markets globally. Satellite images have also showed Iran's been repairing and fortifying sensitive military sites that Israel and the United States have struck in the past. And so that includes missile bases, uranium enrichment sites, and one complex where experts say that Iran appears to be building what could be a high explosive containment vessel, which is critical to developing nuclear weapons. And then even as the negotiations got underway yesterday, direct military posturing has continued from both sides. The U.S. reportedly sent another 50 fighter jets to the Middle East, while Iran fired missiles towards the Strait of Hormuz, and the Ayatollah publicly threatened to sink American warships. But then also, as far as the talks themselves, it seems like the U.S. and Iran both left with slightly different understandings of how things went down. Right on one side, Iran's foreign minister told state television that good progress has been made and the countries now have a clear path ahead, and adding, ultimately, we were able to reach broad agreement on a set of guiding principles based on which we will move forward and begin working on the text of a potential agreement. But then at the same time, you had the U.S. presenting a more toned-down version of events, with Vice President Vance telling Fox,
in some ways it went well. They agreed to meet afterwards, but in other ways it was very clear that the president has set some red lines that the Iranians are not yet willing to actually acknowledge and work through. So we're going to keep on working it, but of course the president reserves the ability to say when he thinks that diplomacy has reached its natural end. We hope we don't get to that point, but if we do, that'll be the president's call.
Now with that, both experts and people close to Trump have raised concerns that he's really not negotiating in good faith and he fully intends to launch a major military operation. And looking into this, there are a number of reasons to think that. First up, this is literally something we've seen Trump do before. He says he wants diplomacy and then he turns around and launches strikes. Or when Israel initially launched major strikes against Iran this summer, Trump said he was committed to a diplomatic resolution on the Iran nuclear issue. And then boom, 10 days later, he authorized strikes on 3 Iranian facilities. But then beyond that, there's reason to believe that Trump's using the negotiations as a smokescreen to stall for time so that the U.S. can enhance its capabilities in the region. And many have speculated that one of the main reasons that Trump backed down from his initial threats to strike Iran last month was because the U.S. just didn't have the firepower in the region to launch a large-scale attack while still protecting American forces and allies. But now, the situation, and more importantly, where things are and their capabilities, it's different. And actually, given the military buildup we've seen from Trump, as well as his repeated threats against Iran if the talks fail, you have places like Axios arguing that it's going to be hard for him to back down without some serious concessions from Iran on its nuclear program. But then also with that, it seems almost impossible that Trump would actually get the concessions that he believes are big enough. And so if Axios is to be believed, that this full-blown military operation can come very, very soon. Or with him quoting an unnamed Trump advisor who said, the boss is getting fed up. Some people around him warn him against going to war with Iran, but I think there is 90% chance we see kinetic action in the next few weeks. And while that was also echoed by Senator Lindsey Graham, who said the strikes could be weeks away, some sources have speculated it could be even sooner. Or 2 Israeli officials told Axios that the Israeli government's preparing for a scenario of war within a matter of days. And if and when this happens, I agree with Axios, who said this could be the most consequential U.S. military intervention in the Middle East in at least a decade. But then from that, finally today, I want to do 2 things. One is a congratulations, and the last is to talk about one more big story. So first up, congratulations to Hashi P, SeatGeek's latest weekly winner, who just scored $500 in tickets and will be attending a Padres game this coming season. And for the rest of y'all, that's right, SeatGeek is still giving away $500 in tickets, and you should definitely enter today if you haven't already. Imagine being the next winner and snagging $500. towards seeing your favorite artist, sporting event, or play. I mean, there's like over 70,000 events to choose from. And all you gotta do is add code DeFranco to your SeatGeek ad profile for a chance at the weekly $500 prize, no purchase necessary. But with that said, it brings us to the final thing we need to talk about today, and that is DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin is resigning after falsely claiming that a woman killed by ICE committed an act of domestic terrorism. With that, you have Trump praising her Democrats, celebrating, and she's being replaced by Lauren Biss, who's actually the woman from DHS's fact-check videos calling journalists radical hacks. And this is really just the latest wave of what we'll call DHS turmoil, and you have many wondering what the agency is going to look like on the other side of this shutdown. Because you have McLaughlin officially resigning as Assistant Secretary of Public Affairs after just over a year serving under Secretary Kristi Noem, and McLaughlin's also been a major voice for the Trump administration's hardline immigration agenda and one of its most passionate defenders. She just spent a lot of her time at DHS sparring with critics on social media and making appearances on Fox News, CNN, CBS, and NPR. She actually described her work to her hometown paper last month, saying, "Media is so much of the battle, so to speak, on the immigration issue. So much of the debate is a public relations debate. It's a PR war." Which I'll say also stands out because Trump recently had an interview where he said, his immigration policy, it's essentially flawless. They just have bad PR. But also, as far as McLaughlin, she's apparently been looking to get out for a while now. In fact, she was reportedly preparing to leave back in December, but she stayed on after the fallout from the killing.
All those American deaths.
It's also not like she did a great job there. A lot of her statements.
Flawless victory.
Outright false.
Nicole Renee Good. Flawless victory in Trump's book.
Before she was shot and killed by an ICE agent. Her unquestioning support of Trump and his immigration crackdown had earned her allies, including Donald Trump himself. Just last month, you had Trump showering her with praise on Truth Social after she appeared on Fox, saying, "Great job by wonderful Tricia McLaughlin, DHS Assistant Secretary on the Sean Hannity Show. Many illegals from around our nation charged with serious crimes this week. Tricia really knows her stuff." And in her statement confirming McLaughlin's resignation, you had Kristi Noem saying, "Tricia McLaughlin has served with exceptional dedication, tenacity, and professionalism. She has played an instrumental role in advancing our mission to secure the homeland and keep Americans safe." But you then also have Democrats and immigration advocates celebrating McLaughlin stepping down. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries saying another MAGA extremist forced out of DHS, known next. Also, an attorney who's previously gone toe-to-toe with McLaughlin said, "We are pleased with this resignation," and adding, "Unless Pinocchio is applying for the position, we believe her replacement will be a great improvement and hopefully work to start repairing the credibility of DHS." But that then brings us to the person, Deputy Assistant Secretary for Media Relations, Lauren Biss. Don't worry, you probably don't recognize that name, but you may recognize her from the department's fact-check videos on social media regarding ICE and law enforcement operations.
Allegations that ICE engages in racial profiling are disgusting, reckless, and categorically false. CNN should stop running cover for violent felons.
No damage.
And start focusing on American victims of illegal alien crime. DHS will not cower to disgusting lies and smears from radical journalist hacks and sanctuary politicians. Secretary Noem's message to the rioters is clear. You will not stop us or slow us down. ICE and our federal law enforcement partners will not apologize for enforcing this nation's laws.
So, based on that, it's probably unlikely that things in the PR department at DHS are going to change that much. But also with this, we got to note the timing of this shakeup. DHS is facing yet another wave of problems with their lapse in funding thanks to the partial shutdown. And right now, we don't know what the potential reforms for ICE and Customs and Border Protection, where that's going to land. And so, we're going to have to wait to see where things land, how things play out. But also, I think Democrats might be a little bit premature in celebrating. I understand why. But it almost appears like there's some accountability happening, which is an A word you don't hear a lot these days. And pressure campaigns work. DHS is replacing someone who lied to the public, though they're being replaced with someone who's likely just going to kind of do the same thing, just maybe in a different font. I mean, McLaughlin's being replaced by someone who claims that any criticism of ICE is disgusting lies and smears. He's already on the record calling allegations of ICE racial profiling categorically false and demanding CNN stop running cover for violent felons. This is the same playbook McLaughlin used: attack critics, defend all actions, and frame any accountability as anti-American. But on that happy note, my friends, it brings us to the end of your Wednesday Philip DeFranco show. But do not worry, nay, do not fret, because there's more for you to watch just a click away. Because it is Wednesday, which means there is a brand new episode of Crashing Out, that podcast with myself and Alex Perlman. Well, I'm very biased. This week's episode was fantastic. I think you'll love it, so definitely check it out. But no matter what you do, I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Stay safe, stay informed, stay angry.
For some reason, everyone has to talk about clavicular. We'll get to him later.
Contractually, we all have to.
Yeah, I think we do.
Here's a map right here.
We're either 100% in fucking full agreement, or you can suck my...
I remember TeamSpeak. We're going to TeamSpeak.
Don't worry, $87 billion, and we got all these facilities to make sure that we put all the voters in them.
We couldn't play the music that's in this clip because it's Kid Rock. What's that dumb?
It's Ba with the Ba.
Ba with the Ba.
Does anyone know the second line of that?
No.
Okay, I just know ball with the ball.
The bang, the bang, diggy, diggy,
bang,
diggy, set the boogie, it's up, jump, the
Yes.
boogie. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
My name is Kid Rock. Yeah.
The only line I remember is chicks with beepers.
And that was,
I love a chick with a beeper. So hot. The kids are all over.
don't worry, that line is included in the little remix medley that I've made for everybody.
Yes, so I tasked Matt with coming up with a creative solution to the fact that we can't play the Kid Rock song behind this.
Yep.
I'm very eager to see what it is.
I've been working on it the entire show.
Thank you, good sir. Best use of your time possible. And so, just you could, warning that there is shirtless Kid Rock and, you know, the man who I like to call a used old catcher's mitt in terms of the way that his skin appears, RFK Jr. They are shirtless, they are diving into pools, they are wearing jeans in water.
Jeans in the sauna is disgusting.
Disgusting.
Right, I mean, but like RFK Jr. really does have the guy that wears jeans to ski energy. Like, in fact, this whole administration is just guy who wears jeans on the slopes. You know what I'm saying? That kind of 80s tacky, that kind of vibe. If you know, you know.
Yeah, here we go. This is the never news.
Hassan posted this.
And I mean, God, at least Tobias looks like, you know, a human being. I don't, the amount of hormones in this man that is now a senior citizen cannot be healthy. Here we go. Matt's debut as a DJ. I don't hear anything. It's coming. Rock out.
Sorry, one second. Hold on, 1 second.
Okay.
You gotta go back and also, did you add that shark or is that shark originally there?
No.
The video is original to the competition. I just have done the mix on the audio here, so here is the.
The Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming.
No, absolutely not. Look at this jerky. Oh.
This is the nuzzy. I'm distracted by the music now, but the sauna. Oh God.
Just two guys and we're having a good time. Having a good time. Having a good time. Just two guys and we're having a good time. Having a good time. Having a good time. Well,
Young ladies.
It's also really gay. I just noticed how gay this is.
You just
Look how
noticed
gay
how gay
this is.
You're drinking whole milk in a hot tub together.
Together.
That's what inspired the YMCA.
And they're doing push-ups in the sauna together?
Okay, but the village people were not gay anthem creators, okay, Matt? The single village person who survives wants you to know that, and they will be playing every Trump and MAGA rally. It just...
Put it back up and we'll just scroll through it without the music, if you don't mind, as we comment on it.
Was Kid Rock's legs in a cast recently?
Yeah, that's the
he
thing.
looks a little atrophied.
Oh, man!
You have this gym and you look like Kid Rock.
He didn't just skip leg day. He's never walked before.
But like, okay, let me just say, as disgusting as Kid Rock is, sheer like body-wise, I'm gonna go Kid Rock over
100%.
this roided up psycho. Like, it's so terrifying to look at that man's body. But Kid Rock is like, okay, that's a normal, I don't give an F, celebrity. It was just like, yeah, no, I have this gym, but I literally never use it. Are you kidding me?
Bobby should have the Wilson football logo branded into his back because his skin is straight up made out of a football.
Oh, it's as coarse as possible. Okay, just pause it. Look at this. This is so gay.
Yes.
They are about to have sex. Yep, in a porno.
Oh my God, Republicans.
This is the I mean, there are a lot of gay pornos, I would imagine, that involve like bathhouses, saunas, that kind of thing.
You would imagine?
I would imagine. I've never seen it before. But
I'm new to the sauna. Can you bring the elliptical in here?
But you've never heard, like, whose search terms are like, coming like a garbage disposal, because that's what you're gonna...
Hello?
Is there a record scratch on this orgasm?
Yes.
Okay,
I'll be right there.
2 angles of this. Too.
Let it out, babe. I am.
I'll come right now.
Bring
It's
it up.
fine.
Go back
It's
to the
too late.
beginning. Go back to the. Oh, let it out, babe. I mean,
So, I'll see
okay,
you in
go
just a
back to the
minute, okay?
beginning. I need to see how this starts.
you're
Okay,
okay,
this is
you're
them
good.
working out, touching physically.
There's a bear. I mean, is that coded? Because doesn't that mean something?
It does.
Yeah, big hairy guy.
Neither of them are bears.
This is okay. So I'm sorry, but for those young people who don't know what it was to like maybe buy a porn in a store. So this was like.
Good kitty. I'm sorry, I gotta go upstairs. Oh. I'm gonna charge my headphones while I do this. Get back, kitty. You're not going outside. It's too cold. You feel it? it's clear that you can't handle finances. I'll have to change.
Teenager, we were like, let's go to the Green Shack in town. You're like, oh my god, the Green Shack that like totally sells like pornos, let's go. But you go in and then you realize that pornos are insanely expensive. They're like $60 to buy a VHS.
He slaps his ass there.
So
Sorry.
you get the $12 one and you put it in, and
What?
this is what the $12 pornos look like.
This is the $12 porno. And there's a storyline too, right? Like it's not like you gotta. Right, they gotta meet up, they gotta work out a little bit first, and then get going on the sex part.
Yeah, a little more touching. Also, my favorite is in the sauna, Kid Rock. They cut real fast away from his push-ups because how many push-ups can Kid Rock do?
We did too. Also, look at the range of motion here. Like,
I don't know.
He doesn't even go 9.
Well, I mean, I think about the fact that he's on an all-meat diet. He's not.
He is on an all-meat diet, isn't he? Oh my god.
Really? Oh, man. Oh, okay. I was wondering if he was doing push-ups on his knees at a point, like a girl.
Which, no disrespect.
No,
Like,
I mean,
I
look,
love
me.
knee push-ups.
I was lifting more before the wedding, and now I'm, I've lost some strength. It's unfortunate.
I was lifting more before the wedding.
Anyway, yes, this is incredibly gay.
Let's go to the grotto now.
The kicker is
what?
Is the whole milk. Wait,
oh yes.
Okay, we're gonna come back to it.
Drinking milk in a hot tub is the most disgusting thing I could ever imagine.
Right.
Let's go down to the grotto and, with our glasses of whole milk.
Let's go down to the grotto with this nightmare fuel. Let's go down to the grotto with RFK and Kid Rock and whole milk. Like,
they Airbnb'd like a gay porn studio for that, right?
They
and
did.
Like, we're gonna do something a little bit different than you're used to. And then it says, "Make America healthy again." And the idea that even if you're like, okay, this is how you get healthy. Drinking whole milk in your hot tub grotto.
Private gym.
With your private gym in your sauna. It's like, be rich, do roids, no homo. That's the slogan for this.
And I'm recalling that you did put the Olivia Nuzzi jailbait music over that. She plays a role in this as well because she sees what we just saw and was like, I'm gonna blow up my entire life for this senior citizen.
Senior citizen.
Taylor Lorenz did a really good deep dive into Nuzzi and makes me have empathy for her, but like,
I know.
Yeah.
I mean,
interesting.
We're playing a song called Jailbait that she wrote and sang when she was 16. So.
Oh my god.
Francesca, I said the exact same thing after the Adam Friedland interview with her, and Emma thought I was being.
I said, of course you would.
Yeah, you're
as a man.
And I said that's not fair.
Okay.
I didn't watch that one.
It's interesting because like.
But she doesn't do it for me.
What do you mean it's interesting? Matt's been harboring that I am this, and so now he feels vindicated.
Talking about resuscitating Nuzzi.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to do that, but I'm just trying to understand people. Okay.
Nuzzi's rise is more annoying because you're like, you seem fairly mediocre, and you were like sleeping with your sources and everyone in surrounding you. It says a lot more about like the pundit class and who gets promoted. That's what we should be annoyed about. But she obviously has untreated trauma. Why else is she like barking up every, like, again, 70-year-old, like, you know, every person she's dated is like 40 years older than her. You know, she's like groomed by Keith Olbermann. Come on.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great, but I don't want to be bummed out right now, okay?
Did you read the poetry he wrote for her?
Oh,
speaking of being bummed out, I think we need to read.
By bummed out.
I want my rivers to fill your valley.
Oh no. I thought you meant Olbermann. I was like,
No. RFK wrote erotic poetry. It's
about
yes,
spitting
we
in her
all
mouth.
remember the line, Brian. We've been trying to scrub it from our memory.
Brian's got a tattoo.
Months now.
Sorry, I like poetry.
Baby, yeah,
Jesus.
he likes the imagery of a baby bird. It's about nature.
Yes, we're not readers on the
After I read the RFK poetry, I have to go to the Epstein files just as a chaser, you know?
Right.
Just read something light.
It makes you feel a little cleaner. Social Democrat.
My last thing is, just
Okay.
really quickly on this, I feel like Matt and Brian, like, this is offensive as a man, and I'm not a man, but like I'm offended by watching this because that's clearly what it's like only real men, like you could do this, I could do. This is for women. It's like women drinking rosé on a bunch of girl boss throw pillows, you know, while baking their husband bread or whatever. Like it's like that's how offensive this is.
Yeah.
And I'm not a man.
Oh no, we'd be in a much better situation as a country if the images of Brian and I were the one associated with masculinity and not these two old men.
Yeah.
Please, someone clip that.
Check out this simulcast.
I'm more offended by the fact that it's like, you know, it takes what, $10 million to be in shape? Fuck off.
Right. That's their healthcare plan.
I have to have bisexual mood lighting in my hot tub.
Yes.
just to be in shape.
There was nothing bisexual about that mood lighting. I feel like that was really hetero.
Right. How dare you? It wasn't. It was overcompensating hetero.
I've recently got into the whole sauna thing in the past year, and the idea of wearing jeans into a sauna is insane to me.
Yeah, it is insane to me
I don't understand that. I don't even wear, I don't wear
whole
flip-flops
sauna
because
thing?
they get too
Like,
sweaty.
That's why you jump in the cold plunge to clean them.
Ew.
That's how he cleans his jeans.
Yeah.
Because I think about this, I didn't want to get too graphic, but we know he only eats meat. He's on a meat-only diet. He's talked about that.
Oh no.
Meat and zin.
Raw meats, like uncooked meat.
His level of constipation must be.
You wish it was
Maybe that's why it's so
constipation.
red.
I'm sorry, but that's not what's happening. When
Okay,
you
I
only
guess
eat
I.
meat.
But it would all come at once and be incredibly smelly.
Wow, Sam's not even here, and this is what we're talking about.
I'm just trying to think about
would
what's
be
going on in those
incredible.
jeans.
Well, in those jeans. That's what you should have put on top of that. Looking good in the plunge. Tell me, is there any cold cuts in those jeans?
Oh my God!
You remember how when John Wayne died, there's the theory or the myth or truth that they found like 20 pounds of undigested meat in his like colon.
John Wayne and the undigested meat in his colon. Oh no. 20 pounds. John
We've been trying to
Wayne's-
scrub it from our memory.
I'm trying to scrub it from my memory immediately. Oh, God. No, kitty, you can't go out. It's too cold. Oh, it was 60 pounds. Nope. What the hell is this shit?
John Wayne was larger than life, and apparently so was his colon. But is there any truth to that 140-pound rumor? Wayne has had a strange afterlife due to a rumor, a gross one, about his death. Wayne died of colon cancer in 1979 at the age of 72. He'd been treated for the condition earlier that year, and his stomach and gallbladder had been surgically removed. Some believe his final illness was related to his carnivorous diet, and a rumor spread that Wayne's autopsy found 40 pounds of impacted fecal matter. Some sources even say red meat in the actor's system. The story has stuck around for decades, but the fact is such a thing is medically impossible. Despite the rumor being widely circulated around the turn of the millennium, there's no evidence that pathologists discovered any unusual material in his colon, and at the time it was simply reported to the public that the actor died of cancer. But the John Wayne rumor remains a talking point in online discussions around diet and healthy eating, quoted as anecdotal evidence in support of vegetarian or vegan diets. The story is also cited by enthusiasts of colon cleansing, an enema treatment purported to improve digestive health and even help people lose weight.
I'm Tom Kalanick. As mayor, I
I'm
would
Tom
set long-term
Kalanick.
goals that include ordering salads and eating bran.
Colon cleansing was something
Eating salads and eating bran.
of a health fad among celebrities in the 1990s, but has been widely debunked in recent years, with experts noting that the procedure has few tangible benefits. Although we know Wayne didn't have 40 pounds of anything in his
love my
digestive
sissy.
tract at the time of his death, Elvis Presley was widely reported to have been suffering from similar digestive problems when he died. In fact,
Yeah, I have this too.
a 1999 USA Today article, Kathy Hayner claims the king of rock and roll had 60 pounds of fecal material in his colon. According to Charles C. Thompson II and James P. Cole's 1991 book, The Death of Elvis, What Really Happened, pathologists did find one shocking detail during Presley's autopsy. His colon was dilated to almost twice its natural size and compacted with white, chalk-like fecal material. Pathologist Dan Warlick explained to the authors that he believed the grim state of Presley's bowel was the result of prolonged drug use, which can paralyze the digestive system. It appears that this disturbing detail may have been misattributed to John Wayne, who died 2 years after Presley. The rumor about John Wayne's impacted bowel resulting from a diet high in meat consumption seems to have no basis in fact. But there were two major factors that may have
No,
increased
men eat only meat all the time.
the likelihood of the actor developing cancer. The first, unsurprisingly, was smoking.
Well, after you've been making a lot of strenuous scenes, you like to sit back and enjoy a cool,
Marlboro,
mild, good-tasting cigarette.
According to the New York Times,
or Camel.
Wayne, like many Hollywood stars of his
too.
time, smoked
I
almost
miss cigarettes actually.
constantly, working his way through up to 5 packs of cigarettes a day.
5 packs, huh?
100 cigarettes in total before undergoing treatment for lung cancer in 1964. Another theory, which it must be said hasn't been proven, claims that Wayne may have had an elevated cancer risk as a result of radiation exposure.
He's like, all right, go get my daily carton. You know, my mom went through a phase like that where she would send my dad to the fucking grocery store and she would have him buy like 4 cartons of cigarettes. Jesus Christ.
1954, Wayne starred in the movie The Conqueror, which was shot in the Utah desert.
For while I have fingers to grasp a sword and eyes to see, your treacherous head is not safe on your shoulders.
At the time, the United States Atomic Energy Commission was in the process of detonating more than 100 nuclear bombs as part of the Manhattan Project. This turned vast stretches of the desert into a dangerous zone of radioactive fallout. The year after Wayne's death, People magazine highlighted the abnormally high cancer rates among the Conqueror's 220 cast and crew members. By 1980, 91 had been diagnosed with cancer and 46 had
Oh no, like because they did this movie in the nuclear desert, they all got really sick with fucking mutated genes.
died. According to The Guardian, one bereft nuclear scientist was quoted as saying, "Please, God, don't let us have killed John Wayne."
Oh my God, please God, don't let us have killed John Wayne. No fucking shot. Oh my God.
That's what they're gonna find.
I would. When he eventually passes, it would just, there's no real scientific value to it because he's so weird.
I mean, he already admits he had brain worms.
But I want to know what's going on inside that
Imagine he ends up like fossilized and they find his body and base the human diet off of what they find in his.
Okay, then,
no wonder these guys
like
went
in
extinct.
3,000 years.
We have to ensure that does not happen for the future of humanity.
His body has a half-life like greater than plutonium.
Let's put a note on his coffin saying, "Aliens, if you find this body, this is not representative of us. Do not clone this person.
Don't repopulate humanity using this guy as a model."
Yes, please.
Well, they'll know because when these people die, they will all create massive mausoleums in their honor. We know that throughout history that's been done, right? And when we do revolution, which hopefully will be before they die, but if not, we will raid and destroy all of those mausoleums, you know, a la like the terracotta soldiers in Xi'an in China. Remember all the thousands of soldiers? That was a mausoleum designated for one, king or dude, king dude. And then the revolution just destroyed it. Like people just raided where they
because these pieces of shit fascists.
They were buried. Anyway.
It makes sense because
well, we'll start with him.
RFK is sort of terracotta colored already.
Oh, we'll start with him.
It's very true. We'll start with him, and we'll take his carcass and tie it to the back of our car.
Throw it in a van. Dump it in Central Park.
Yeah, throw it on a bike and dump it in the park.
Right. We'll put it in
a bear in the
freezer.
passenger.
That's what he would have wanted.
Yes.
Oh my god, that was mean.
It's honoring.
They actually really hate the right wing the same way I do. It's funny.
He would want people to eat his body, though.
Yes.
He would be like, "You should savor every piece of me."
I'm in jerky now.
Like Cheryl Hines will have to eat him. Isn't that terrifying? That it's part of their
She'll act like he didn't for a while, and then she'll start talking about it on talk shows.
She goes to the will reading. He leaves her with nothing except some jerky strips of his body.
Just don't eat the hors d'oeuvres at the wake.
Oh boy, we got there.
We are gonna wrap now. So battle scars. Aliens will evacuate RFK Jr. and think they discovered the missing link.
What's up, guys, and welcome to what I think could be one of the more interesting releases of the next couple of years.
Russ is better, but it'll be good.
What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be playing around with a title called Windrose. This is an oh-so-rare open-world survival crafting sandbox that takes place in a Caribbean-like environment where you are pirates attempting to steal treasure, explore coves, all that kind of fun stuff. And what makes this interesting is that the game is actually entirely focused on single player. A lot of the pirate media we tend to get tends to be focused on being PvP centric. This game went the complete and total opposite direction, trying to create a single player experience that we can all have fun with. Yeah. So now that the game has a demo that's gone live, I figured we'd hang out for I don't know, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, however long it takes for us to get a big badass ship and blast a guy across the starboard bow. But I figured we'd play for a little while. Along the ways I talk about the things that I like, the things that I don't like, and hopefully you'll end up with some first impressions about this title, although you don't honestly really need that's probably a bad thing for a YouTuber that wants you to watch the video to say, is that you don't really need to watch this video because the demo is publicly available to everybody. I went and downloaded it 3 minutes before I started recording this video. But with that all said and done, I'll put the link to the game down below so that if you wanted to play it as well, you absolutely can. Help you find that a little bit, and then on top of that, you can find a bunch of other Nerdcastle links down there, just in case you wanted to give them the old spicy click. But let's go ahead and play the game. I made this guy. You get to customize your character. And this seems like the sort of pirate that I would aspire to be. Any pirate that makes it to the gray-haired ages, you know, that's a bad pirate right there. That pirate gets down. Let's play the game. We'll play solo, offline. All right. Now that I've got a world created, we will dive on into the game. The year of 17 redacted. The seas tremble with the roar of cannons and turn red from blood. Edward Teach Blackbeard proclaims himself the king of pirates of the West Indies. Rumors are spreading that he struck a bargain with the devil himself and commands the dead. After crushing the British fleet, Teach turns his forces towards Tortuga, the last bastion of freedom and independence in the Caribbean. Not looking for trouble and with a couple of other poor souls in tow, you try to slip your fast ship through the blockade ring. But just a few days later, you wake up in your cabin and realize that you're under attack. You wake up on the cabin floor to the clash of sabers. Your head is pounding and your vision swims. I mean, check the back of my head. Yeah, obviously, if we got a big gaping hole right there, we probably want to take care of that. There's a big lump on the back of your... I thought it said there's a big dump on the back of your head for a sec. I don't know, dude. Sometimes my eyes just fill in words. I don't know what causes it to do that, and I was like, well, it seems like we've already lost the battle. Nobody gets to do that to another man unless he's already won. The last thing that you remember is the deck lurching under your feet as cannonballs hit the hull. Damn. Your ship is under attack. You need to get out of the cabin and see what's going on. All right, draw my sibyl. There we go. Okay, we're going to swing away with this thing, get a couple practice chops in, just in case I need to slice a few throats. All right, so this wreckage right here, I got to break that open. Fair enough. Knock the door down. Oh, no, this guy's sketty sauce is leaking out. Dr. Galen, what's cracking, man? Captain, I thought you died in the first broadside. Skip the details, Doc. How bad is it? Blackbeard's pirates are boarding us. They're everywhere. Half the crew is dead, but some are still fighting. Go and help the others. Perhaps you may yet turn the tide. All right, let's go turn this tide. Although I'm gonna let that little pun slide right there and not address it, okay? Because you're the ship's doctor. All right, so I drank some grog because apparently that's just a code line.
Because you're the ship's
basic
doctor.
thing that all pirate lords must do. You must inhale the. How do I dodge and stuff? All right, so we got T to lock on our target, and then like, where's my dash at? There we go. All right, I'm trying to find the stuff that I needed to keep moving. All right, let's move on up the stairs and see if we can get this done. Where are these guys at? I know there's going to be more. Can I loot these dead guys right here? When do I get like a sick-ass pistol like Napoleon had where it's like a double-barreled pistol that's got all kinds of scroll work and dragons and stuff on it and like angel wings? Another enemy up ahead. I think, yar, we be fighting with our swords. I block your strike. Yar. Yeah, you don't like that, huh? Yeah, blocking it. There we go. Light him up. Dash back. Ooh, got him with the quick one right there. He thought he was going to catch me slipping, and he was absolutely wrong. I remain rooted in these boots. A lot of my guys seem to be dead right now. This isn't looking absolutely fantastic. I found the artifact. It really was on the ship. Anchored down my throat. Something's definitely not right with this thing. Get the captain. He'll handle it. Off my ship, you dogs.
Oh, time for a new twist. Nice. Today I'll be doing an indica.
What's that?
It's Northern Lights. Always a good strain.
Oh, my man got clacked.
I've been smoking
You got
Northern Lights all my
slimed out.
life.
Spry, aren't you? Consider yourself deposed, Cap.
I don't want to spoil it. Let's go. Skip it.
Idiot. I look like I'm in my underpants. All right, we'll pick up everything we possibly can because I'm willing to bet we've pretty much got to do the survival thing here where we got to like gather up a bunch of rocks, gather up a whole bunch of sticks, probably like do some kind of building. We're more than likely gonna make a stone axe. You know they're gonna make us do it, dude. These survival games, they love it when you're building stone axes. Movement feels pretty good inside and outside of combat. Animation looks pretty solid as well. I'm loving the saturation level that they've gone for when it comes to the overall rendering of the game.
Yeah.
It's really, really good looking in all
Colorful.
honesty. I do think that like the limited combat we did already could use a little bit more impact. I think that comes from the fact that the sound effects of you hitting the enemy don't have like a percussive whump to go along with the slicing sound when you hit on in there. But that's a pretty easy change right there for whoever's on the audio for this game. So in build mode, we've got to build ourselves a bonfire. I don't know, dude. It's kind of seaweedy over here. Is it just me? Seaweed kind of creeps me out, dude. I've lived by the ocean my entire life, and I don't like being on beaches where there's tons of seaweed laying around. I don't know, dude. There might be a snake in it or something. All right, there's no incremental building. All right, that's perfectly fine. It looks like we've got our bonfire all nice and taken care of. And so now it wants me to build a cooking fire. Okay. A cooking fire is going to take a considerable chunk more of wood, though. So let me see if I can scrounge some up from the backfield over here. Do I still have, like, a weapon? I do have a sword. This coastal dodo, is it like an easy target? Because I bet we're going to get hungry at some point. It looks like you just auto-loot stuff that you murder. I actually prefer that. Looking around all over the ground for little things.
I prefer auto-looting. I don't really need anything to press a button, you know. The button doesn't represent anything except me being a slave. Like, if I think that I want to pick up that item, then I should pick up that item. I don't think about picking up an item in real life. Why would I do it in a video game?
Have to spam the F key or the E.
Crosswind, Windows. I heard about it from Splatter. No, kitty, you can't go outside.
Key on, it can be a little bit troublesome.
But it's there.
And so I don't mind it altogether that much when games are just like, here's your loot, and they just like straight up give it to you real fast when you finish off the mob. All right, I've got this stuff together, so we should be able to smash this out real fast. There's our cooking pot right there. Honestly, we shouldn't even be building down here, because if you see the tree line right there, that tends to be where the tide actually comes up to. I doubt that the game is actually going to correct for that, but in real life, don't really build on the shore in like the sandy area if you can help it. You kind of want to be up in there a little bit where you actually see like green growth and whatnot. That means that it doesn't really get up that high. We've also got ourselves a workbench, because you can't play a game like this without a twerk bench. So let's put it right there, and our twerks will blot out the sun. It also looks like we have access to a tent. That'll allow us to set our spawn point just in case we end up getting muck ducked. But for now, let me see what's on the workbench. There may be something in here that's actually, oh, we can get a pistol? Stone bullets? Yeah, dude, let's get some stone bullets. Take all those things. I got a pistola right here. How do I fire my pistola? Oh, gotcha. I do have bullets, though. They're right here. I think I need to manufacture gunpowder or something first before I can actually use these. A lump of stone that just barely passes for a ball. Yeah, they called that langrage back in the day. That was actually the military term for it, was to launch langrage. So like when your ship ran out of any type of like resource, let's say you ran out of cannonballs or chain shot or whatever else, they would say to load langrage, especially if you were coming up to a side with the enemy in order to do boarding combat. And langrage was anything you could find on the ship that you could pack a cannon with. It'd be like rocks, it would be things like silverware, shards, just nails, anything you could throw inside the cannon with a little bit of powder behind it in order to fire it at the enemy.
I really like
and hopefully soften them up a little bit before you actually transferred over to their ship to fight, or before they came aboard you. All right, tent, I'm gonna need you so that my head doesn't get rained on. Oh, you can put it up on little stilts too. That's kind of cool. All right, well, I'll probably just put my tent over here. Which side's the front side? I think this is the front side right here. We'll sit that right there, and so now we got to set our revival point, and then we'll be good to go. They want me to kill a boar and obtain its hide. Like, there's a lot of boars around where I live, a lot of hogs, man. In fact, my buddy got like 3 of them recently, and he's filled up his entire freezer with some of that old wild hog. It's quite gamey, but he was very excited about getting that many hogs. And fighting a boar, a terrible idea. Honestly, one of nature's meanest animals. Like, even bears don't really mess with boars. They're mean little bastards. For right now, though, it wants me to kill a boar and obtain its hide. I put my bullets inside my slot for ammo, but it's still saying that I don't have any bullets. So there's got to be something that I'm missing here. It's got to be the powder horn. If I'm taking a look inside my inventory right now, it vaguely looks like that's a powder horn right there. And so we're going to have to, like, find one. I didn't see one on our crafting list, so I guess we're going to have to take a boar out from the shoulder. I would never mess with a man that was able to stab a boar to death with a piece of sharpened metal. But hey, some people are just built different than I am. They're just better than I am. Yeah, you can get that right there. You can eat this up to death. Oh my God, that dodo was so raw, dude. I didn't expect a dodo to do what it do so hard, bro. He messed me up. Okay, so we actually have to block. This game has, like, enforced blocking. If you don't block, you're gonna regret it. Also, it looks like maybe the game is using, like, a Valheim system of health. So our health bar is incredibly small right now. There we go. Take that dodo out. We'll pick up all of his stuff and feathers. There's my body, my post-mortem cache. Yeah, I'd like to have that back. I'll also take that bird meat right there. Maybe I'll cook up some food before we go out into the field. Because if a dodo one-shotted me, I don't particularly remember anybody talking about how...
Okay. Okay, I'll come now if you want to do it earlier. I mean, no, okay. Okay, yes. Yeah, so... Okay, well then I'll see you at 7. Thank you. No, kitty, no.
My friends, is Crosswind, and Crosswind is an MMO survival.
Ooh, it's an MMO, huh?
Out the dangerous dodo that murdered all the settlers, it may be a good idea to buff ourselves up a little bit. All right, we got ourselves some dodos, so let's scarf that down. It didn't really add that much to my bar if I'm looking at it. It gave us like 1 extra chunk, so it's possible that I may need to actually eat some other.
Never mind, I don't want to hear him. I'll just play the game myself. Kitty, I'm not going to let you outside. It's too cold. Why do you keep complaining? I'm not going to let you out. You know I'm not. It's been all day. You keep complaining. Kitty, relax. You're stressed out and it's not serving either one of us. I'm not going to let you out. I'm sorry. Cool. Your ship gives you a rest bonus, but I couldn't read. She looks like she'd carve you up. Yes. Good kitty. Oh, she's got a mullet. Oh, yeah. Put her back in. She's not done yet. Demo. Not really free till like 8:30. But yeah, it has multiplayer. Doesn't connect to server, fine. Okay.
Dow to the Dow says, my jeans are poo.
That's pretty much what Emma said.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh my god, my hair is being so annoying and in front
yeah,
of
but
my
it
face.
looks great today.
Oh, thank you. I'm
You're
doing
welcome.
I mentioned I'm doing that show Doom Scroll, so I decided to, put a tiny bit of effort in today.
Which I love that you're sort of openly admitting. Like, for my show, no.
Yeah.
For
no,
someone
please.
else's,
Yes, exactly. That should be understood in this office. Meg MCA, China's dancing robots are impressive, but even more, so is the robot that kicks people in the nuts.
Did you see that? There's I'll find that clip.
Okay. The one I don't know what you're talking about. Yep. Okay. Tucker's Bed Demon, sorry. With liberal women this smart and hot, can we start calling this segment Chicks with Beepers? Sure.
Yes.
But
Thanks for reading my AM.
This is what the IMer was referring to. I'm not sure where this is, but this is a robot training facility, and you have a robot sort of mimicking the actions of this guy on the left here, and hilarity ensues.
Oh boy.
Oh! Wait, go back. Go back.
Wait. Did he just imitate him also getting hit in the nuts after he did it?
Because he's just following what he's doing.